Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Jenny Tran on the line, and she's the Senior Associate over at Brown & Strezza, LLP. Jenny? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about the CARES Act and tax strategies. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at Brown & Strezza, LLP. So first, tell us a little bit more about the firm, please.
Sure. Brown & Strezza predominantly is a tax planning firm. Half of us are in estate planning who work with ultra-high net worth clients. And the other half of us are business attorneys, which is the group that I'm with. My practice comprises of business and tax planning and also mergers and acquisitions. I've actually been with the firm for about 17 years. I started off as a file clerk and then worked my way up to becoming a project assistant, project manager, and associate, and now senior associate. So it's been an awesome journey with this firm. People don't usually stay at one group for such a long time.
Well, I love it. I love your story because, number one, when I see somebody kind of work their way up the ranks and get to where you've gotten, it shows a couple things. Number one, obviously, it shows great things about you, but it also shows great things about the firm, so Brown & Strezza. So that's awesome. Let's switch up a bit. I do want to get into the CARES Act. A lot of people listening right now that are going to be looking for guidance and just to see, like, how does this affect me? Where do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I want to start with some background about a little bit of the history. You know, in the state of California, Governor Newsom issued the shelter in place order statewide on March 20th, and business owners were hurting immediately, especially if they did not fall under the definition of what was a federal critical infrastructure. And so business owners fell into two hats, right? They either had to close, or even if they didn't close, they had to operate at an extremely handicapped level. And even then, how did they manage cash flow? So I wanted to talk about the CARES Act, or the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, to help business owners try to figure out what potential cash flow solutions are there. So that's really the subject of what I want to talk about today.
And so what should business owners be thinking about, like right now? Like how is this going to affect them?
So I want business owners to think that this discussion is going to be about opportunity for cash flow. Mm-hmm. And before we even talk about the opportunity, I want everyone who's listening to think that they qualify in being a business owner if they have less than 500 employees. They were operating on February 15th. And here's the reason why. There's a program called the Paycheck Protection Program loan, and those who are sole proprietors also qualify as well. And so I want to make sure the listeners open their ears up to realize that they can take advantage of this loan.
So how does the how's the loan work? Because I know there's a lot of people, and I've seen a lot. Anytime you open up an app, you open up Instagram, Facebook, anything, like if you're a business in any way, shape, or form, I feel like you're being marketed towards doing this. I know a lot of friends, a lot of people that have applied or are applying, I should say. I mean, for what we know right now, like how does all this work?
Okay. And I know I talked about the CARES Act as well, but before we even get to the CARES Act, I know I'm going to take us through a journey. I want to talk about the Economic Injury and Disaster Loan and Loan Advance. And the reason why I want to talk about that is right now the SBA is inundated and large banks are also being flooded with applications. And so the EIDL loan is supposed to be one that business owners can apply for and get relief immediately 3 days after they receive the application. That particular EID loan, business owners can apply even if all they do is provide 1099 contract work to other businesses, apply directly with the SBA without going through a lender. I talk about this right now because the Paycheck Protection Program loan is inundated, and so as a matter of strategy, a business owner can go apply for the EIDL loan first, and then also simultaneously apply for the PPP loan and refinance under the PP loan. Because we talked about the shelter-in-place order for California. We're almost 2.5 weeks under the shutdown, and so businesses need cash flow like 2 weeks ago. So again, that's the economic injury and disaster loan that a business owner can apply with the Small Business Administration. And as a matter of strategy, they could refinance the loan with the CARES Act. So now I want to talk a little bit about the CARES Act and the Paycheck Protection Program loan. And really the fastest way for a business owner to be able to get in with the application is not to go directly with the SBA, is for them to talk to their existing business banker. And so throughout the entire weekend, I've been working nonstop trying to connect people, not with new banking relationships, but for them to examine internally who did they open their bank account with. And that's probably the person that they need to redirect their attention to kind of make sure that they're getting assistance navigating. Because the Paycheck Protection Program loan is actually administered through a variety of banks that are qualified SBA lenders. And banks are actually given the responsibility of verifying a borrower's information. And so, again, a business owner should go to their existing relationship. The way that they can determine who that is for them to think, when I opened my business checking account, or just my checking account if they're a sole proprietor, who helped me? And for them to kind of flag that down and continue down that process to figure out how that they can obtain assistance. So,
wow. So this is this is a lot to take in. So just to make sure that I have this right, they need to go to their existing banking relationship. I mean, that's going to be their, I guess, for lack of better words, the gatekeeper, right?
Right. And part of it is because the banks are inundated right now. So it's best for the business owner to figure out where can they get assistance quickly. And that particular bank that they're already working with probably has at least a level of comfort and information, already.
No, that's very helpful. So what's the what does the process look like, just so that business owners have so they have a feel? And is this a pretty systematized thing for them applying? Like, how long is this going to take? Like, give us a little bit of that background if you can.
Sure. First, they have to be eligible, and if they have less than 500 employees, if they were operating on February 15th of this year, they're able to borrow 2.5 times of their average monthly payroll. We'll talk about that. And if they do apply, so long as they use the loan proceeds for eligible purposes like interest payments on mortgages, rent, utilities, and payroll costs, the business will actually get the loan proceeds forgiven, and that's why it's so powerful. Now, going back to your question of what is this process like, they would go reach out to their existing banking relationship, and what their bank would do is they would give the business owner the SBA Paycheck Protection Program loan form. There's actually a very specific form that you have to fill out that will include information requests like who are the owners, and what is the loan amount that the borrower wants to borrow. And the key here is you have to make sure that you use those loan proceeds, again, for a approvable purpose for the loan to be forgiven. Otherwise, the loan is a true loan that has to be paid back.
No, that's very helpful. So Jenny, I know we barely scratched the surface on this thing, and I know we could talk about it for a whole lot more time, but we're just about out of time for this episode. So that being said, I do want people to continue the conversation with you and Brown and Streza. So what's the best way for them to reach out and to get more info?
Yeah, so I'm actually hosting a separate webinar this Thursday at 10 a.m., and so they're going to be able to find more information about that on my LinkedIn webpage, which is LinkedIn/in/Jenny Tran ESQ. Alternatively, they're welcome to email me directly. My email address is Jenny, Jenny, _Tran, Tran, @Brown, BROWN, and Streza, STREZA.com. And I just want business owners to know that I'm there for them to pass on information so that we can all get through this, event together. And it's an event that will pass.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Jenny, really appreciate you coming on the show and educating our audience a little bit more on the CARES Act and what that entails and what the process should look like for them. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things you're working on. And Jenny, thanks again for coming on the show.